This would have been about 20 years ago, back in the Ruffin area of North Carolina. There's a road that has a route number, but it's colloquially referred to as Berry Hill Bridge Road off of Berry Hill, but it's fairly close to Mayfield Road. I also had a Bigfoot sighting on that same road, probably within several hundred feet of this flying humanoid, or what I took to be a Bigfoot. But that's another separate matter. Me and a friend of mine, there was a couple other people with us, but the other people weren't paying attention. They were in the back seat. But me and the guy in the front seat, we both saw the same thing. I've corroborated with him recently, and he still remembers the exact same thing that I remember. It was a very brief encounter, but we see this at this time. I don't know, this was before they had the sod fields, I believe, and there's no longer sod fields, but at the time, the trees arch over the road, but they're cleared out over the top of the road, so there's a space of, I don't know, approximately 26 feet or so, given the width of the lanes, for something to come down. And at first we thought it was a large bird came down out of the sky, but when it got close, we could tell that it was bigger than any bird from around here. We don't have any kind of condors or anything, obviously. Biggest thing we have is buzzards, and this was much bigger. Whatever it was came down over the treetops, swooped down so low in front of the car that we lost sight of it for a second, or a fraction of a second. Then it came up over the hood, over the bumper, the hood, the windshield, and over the roof of the car. Never flapped its wings, never touched the car, never made a sound. Thing about it was, I could almost swear that it was wearing a hat. I'm not 100% certain that it was wearing a hat, but I'm pretty sure that it was. And it would have been like a wide flat-brimmed hat. Something like an overseer's hat would have wore back on a plantation back many years ago. It also had on a long coat, similar to a duster or a trench coat. And it had what appeared to be a fox fur around its neck. And it had what appeared to be breeches on. Not pants, I guess it could have been pants. But they were ripped and torn above the knee, a couple inches. They gave the appearance of breeches. They fit that way, but they were ripped and torn. They looked to be old. And the creature itself, it had high cheekbones, a gray pallor to its skin. It had long, straggly hair. It had 2 arms, 2 legs, and torso, just like a human being. But the face, it had a wide grin on its face, like a wide set mouth. And instead of normal eyes, it had either 2 black pits or 2 dark black eyes that took up the whole of the eye sockets. And as I said, it swooped down in front of the car so low that it was almost touching the road, and then it came up over the car, never touched us. And I stopped in the road, if I'm not mistaken, and we look out the windows and look up in the sky, and we couldn't see anything. So, which that was also similar to the Bigfoot sighting. When the lights hit it, it raised up, flexed its shoulders, it started to turn and look at us, but it stopped short, and then turned back to the woods, and within 2 or 3 strides, it had crossed the 15 or 20 feet from the edge of the road into the pine grove. And when I stopped there, I stopped because we were trying to get sight of it again. I also had a witness with me at that time. It was just like it wasn't there. It never made a sound. It had no smell. Neither creature, attacked or made a sound. Although the winged humanoid was definitely more menacing than whatever the Bigfoot creature was, or the shaggy creature that was covered in the tawny brown and gray fur. It was pitch black. It was about 1:30 in the morning, and as I said, it was approximately 20 years ago. But it's still pretty sharp in my mind because we saw it basically face to face, because it came up over the hood and the windshield, and it would have had to have been within a couple feet, 3 or 4 feet max of our faces in the front of the car. So we saw it basically face to face, from the tip of its head to the tip of its feet. It didn't wear shoes, and didn't have gloves on or anything like that, which it would have been in the summertime. But I still have no clue what it actually could have been. So I'm looking for answers, if at all possible.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. The guy that contacted me with this story, wanted to record his own story and tell it, which is fine. We love when people do that. I try to feature a couple here and there, and y'all seem to like it too, so worked great. Now, I will say, we've had a few people reach out about Mothman and winged humanoid encounters from North Carolina, almost as many as West Virginia, I think. 3 I found just taking a quick look through some of our old stuff. Erindale, North Carolina, October 2022. Davie County, North Carolina, 2022. And then the one that reminded me of this one the most was Silverstone, North Carolina, October 1983. Now, this was a winged humanoid encounter. They didn't call it Mothman. And the person that sent it in also described it as wearing clothing too. They mentioned that the humanoid was wearing combat boots, which I always thought was interesting. What do you guys think of this? And that one. That's just pretty interesting. It was wearing clothes. Kind of reminded me of, what were those? Jeepers Creepers. That's what it was. Those movies. I think they were early 2000s or 90s movies. Jeepers Creepers. That's what that reminded me of. Very, very interesting story. I mean, the perspective, like the whole feeling of it is just different when it's the person telling the story. It's a live person telling the story. It's something else. I love telling the stories, but I think having these in is just a good mix every now and then. What do y'all think? Let me know what you think of this story in the comments, and him coming on to tell the story. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and let us know what you think in the comments of it. And if you want to either email in an audio recording of your story, or just email it in text form for me to read like normal, you can email it to spookyappalachia@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. And until next time, don't forget, stay spooky.